Hi Movie Club, this is my very first review and it is for Edward Scissorhands. So before I start the actual review, I wanted to mention that if you are a fan of the film, you owe it to yourself to see a parody of Edward Scissorhands called Edward Plungerhands that was featured on a show called The Critic that aired back in the early 90s. The clip is pretty short, but I think that if you enjoyed the film, you also enjoy the parody. I'll put a link to the parody in that space is below where I'm pointing, that place where the links go and stuff. So one of the things I like about Edward Scissorhands is that even though I first saw it when I was a kid, I still enjoy it now as an adult. Although now that I'm older, I enjoy it more for its themes and its allusions to other stories like Beauty and the Beast and Pinocchio and Frankenstein. So another thing that I like about Edward Scissorhands is the acting, primarily from Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp not only shows you how Edward's trying to adjust to the outside world, but he also gets you to feel how uncomfortable he is dealing with all these other people. And what that does is that it gets you to empathize with Edward, because as you are watching the scene, you can actually feel how embarrassed and how out of place Edward feels. Like in that scene at dinner where Edward is cutting the steak with his hands and he drops a piece of it in Kim's lap. You can actually feel how awkward he feels in that scene, and I think that's real testament to Johnny Depp's talent. I also like the fact that Vincent Price has a role in this film as the inventor or creator of Edward. This is one of the last roles that he played before his passing, and I think it's an appropriate film for him to be in. Because although Edward Scissorhands isn't a horror film, there is a gothic tone to the film that I think Vincent Price fits into well. So I don't know about everybody else, but there were two questions that occurred to me while I was watching the film. So the first question is, how does Edward go to the bathroom? Because he has problems picking up a glass, and if he has problems with that, he probably has problems picking up things that are, shall we say, more sensitive. And the second question is, where was the inventor getting all the parts from to make Edward? Was I the only one thinking that? Probably not. Was the inventor like roaming around eyeing up the townsfolk for parts? Did he like chloroform people who he knew no one would miss and throw them in the back of a van and drag them up to his creepy castle and then make Edward? Or was it more like a Frankenstein thing where he would like go out late at night with a shovel and dig up dead people's parts and then assemble Edward? I think the like weirdest scene is that scene where the inventor like holds up that pair of hands and shows them to Edward and says, here they are. That's kind of weird. What's that supposed to be? Like he saved the best part for last? The hands? Where'd he get them from? I'm still fixated on this. Where'd he get the hands from? And then like he like has his like heart attack or whatever, and then he falls and Edward's like scissor hands slice through the hands. It's just kind of creepy. So that completes my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.